My name is Diane Conibear-Xander. I spent 14 years in the school district from 2000 to 2014. 7 years I was a teacher, special education. I taught at the middle school, at Lorain Middle School, the old Lorain Middle School that no longer exists. I went to the new Longfellow that was built. And then I went over to Admiral King, and I taught students with severe emotional problems and behavioral problems, and it was my love. I loved every minute of it. I loved the kids. And then one day I got a call. I was an aspiring principal. I got a call from Lorain's administration asking me if I'd come in and be a principal at Admiral King. And I said, certainly. I said, but we've got some things we've got to work on. And we worked so hard with the teachers, with the administration, and my 3 children went to Lorain High School. I have a 2012 graduate, a 2013 graduate, and a 2015 graduate. And I can say my kids received hands down the best education ever. My daughter Gretchen, I'm going to brag about her for a moment. 2015 graduated from high school, the associate's degree in science, and she's already into a doctorate program to be a pharmacy doctor at NEOMed, Northern Ohio Medical University. And there is no way on earth she could ever gotten where she was if she didn't have the math and science support that she got in her high school from her teachers. And hands down, the teachers, my whole experience there, we went through a merger, which we had like 5 months to plan a merger between Admiral King and Southview. Then a year and a half later, we moved everybody across town. We had to manage 2 different buildings at one time, same amount of staff. You know, we never faltered. We stood strong. We did what we had to do for the community and the kids. And you know, we are tightly rooted into the community. And I'm excited to be here. I currently work for Polaris Career Center out of Middleburg Heights, Cleveland. I work for Berea Mid-Park. We have 6 different districts that we work with. And I'm doing a bunch of career tech now, which I love. And I think that my background and my years as an administrative teacher can be very beneficial to this commission. And so I hope that you know, we can answer any questions and hopefully relieve any sort of, I know there's concerns. I've heard it, I've been in 11 days now, my 11-day countdown, and I have been inundated with emails, phone calls, and so we're here to listen and take those concerns back to Lorain administration and try to work collaboratively to work through these problems.
Yeah, one thing with the 2 of us, we care about the community because we have, like Diane said, both of us have specific experiences with our children. And obviously, the children are the most important piece because we want to see them be successful. We've had those successes within our district, and we want to see those continue to go for all of our students moving forward, even though these are difficult times that we're involved in. And like I mentioned before, like for me personally, you know, people go, why are you on the, I'm not on the commission because I have an ulterior motive of I want to be a superintendent or I want to do this. I want to be a teacher. I want to continue over the next 10 years when it's time for me to retire. Hopefully you'll still find me, you know, in the C building of Lorain High School teaching my kids. You know, so it's not like I'm using this to catapult myself somewhere else. I don't want to end up in Columbus and, you know, the state houses. I want to be here in Lorain.
You want to start with any questions or?
Well, it was good meeting.
So my question is, like, your child needs extra help, okay? He has an address plan that we have all signed, principal needs, everybody sat in, yet he's not receiving any services.
Okay, is that plan called a 504 or
it's
an IEP?
It's not a 504, it's not an IEP, it's
okay.
an academic distress plan. So it's kind of like something we planned before we go to the 504
okay.
to help him.
Kind of like an IAT intervention plan?
Yes.
Okay.
So we were trying to get everything set up. We did it at the beginning of the year. He has received no help at all.
Okay.
So now I have an 8-year-old who breaks out in tears and hives because he says he's not going to pass the 4th grade reading test to go to 4th grade.
It's a lot of pressure that we put on our kids nowadays.
And he's feeling that pressure in school to the point coming home time.
What I can suggest to recommend to you is that you be persistent with their principal, and you be persistent with if there's a psychologist involved, with your child's teacher, and really, you know, advocate for your child. You have the right to advocate for your child.
I went in, I talked to the principal, and she told me I needed to find other ways that I can help. Instead of giving him the help that you told me you were going to get.
Right.
And I'm like, by the the time he gets home, his brain is so fried.
I know.
And he'll tell me, my brain is fried, I can't do nothing.
I had my son had the same feelings. My son struggled in school too. So I can relate to you as a parent.
So it's like I'm there, I try to go in, I've asked the teacher for help. She can only do so much.
Right. What subjects is he struggling in the most?
For him right now, it's reading and it's the comprehension part. So it affects his math because the math has all the questions that you have to.
Have you asked for him to be tested?
Yes.
Okay.
We've asked for him to be tested.
Okay. Did you put it in writing?
They did not tell me.
Okay, so I'm going to make a recommendation. If you put it in writing that I suspect my child may have a learning disability, I would like him tested. And I think, if I recall, I think they have 30 days to get back with you and to get that process complete.
Okay.
Okay? All right. And there's a law that backs you up on that. Okay.
I don't know how well it's going to help because I have kids with IEPs and 504s. They're totally not even helping at all. Nobody's even helping.
Well, that's alarming to me.
Yeah.
That's
I've heard
alarming
it
to
from
me.
the teachers. I've heard it from the students, friends of my children.
Is there an inclusion intervention specialist that's assigned to the classes, or there is?
Is it a new administrator that's new to the district that's not aware of certain?
I'm not for sure. They have. I just know when we met, we had Amy Valdez was there.
I know Amy. She's
Yeah.
great.
That was, I think, Lorain was there.
Doreen Morel is the lady you want to call.
So she was there with this meeting that we all went over for him to make sure that we got what he needed.
Okay.
Since he was struggling with that.
Okay.
And still, and I mean, that's the thing. I've gone back in, I've asked, when you have a child that's crying and doesn't want to go to school because he can't keep up, and he's embarrassed, he's like, I'm not going to get anywhere, where should I even go? And then you're fighting and you need to go, so now he's already started.
And the stress and anxiety you
Right.
must feel.
And then now he comes home, he's got welts on his face, on his arms, because he's so stressed over not
A
getting
test.
what he needs.
Is it a
But no, our
test?
test.
Over test.
Where when he was getting the title services, he was doing fantastic. They
He's
were
not
really
getting
helpful.
title services
No,
anymore.
they canceled title services. They don't do title.
Title's been removed from all the
All of the elementary, so he doesn't get his title services. And
Needs
his
to be
scores and everything have
not
dropped.
necessary. Is that what?
They said the funding would be
We
used
get title funding.
well, they're used for administration pay because he thinks that will be a better service to the children to have.
So title funds are being used to fund administrative salaries?
Yes.
We don't know where it is, but we know that we don't have them as a teacher.
You know, we even had
anymore.
title at the high school when I was there. We used that time wisely, pulling out students and giving them
He
some
wasn't
one-on-one
had the
support.
title. He did fantastic. His scores went up over 30 points. He was getting the one-on-one. His Miss Macheski was wonderful with him. She would stop me when I come to get him to say, "This is what we're working on," so that we could try to integrate it at home.
Right.
With the way that they were teaching him, because he was getting it.
Okay.
And now with him not having that, everything's gone downhill for him. And so that the stress steps in, the depression, he doesn't want to go, he feels like he's not doing well. And he's 8.
The unfortunate thing is that we are somewhat accountable, and the reason we're in state takeover now is because of an ODE report card that is measuring who we are as a district by standardized test scores and who our children are. They're trying to define our kids by a score, and I think it's completely unfair.
I agree.
Because some kids just are not good test takers, and a test score is not the way to measure everybody's success or absence they have as a human.
And then everybody says you have a failing school district, and
Because it's based on standardized test scores.
And it's like, I know it's not a failing school district because I have this wherever my child went, she's here. She's in gifted. She is excelling. She's a 6th grader in 8th grade math. She's 5th grade. She does fantastic, so I know it's not. She was doing well before. Right. So you can't say that it's the school, it's just not everybody can take a test. And I don't think they should be graded on that. It's not fair to the kids and it's not fair to the teachers to have to go and worry about a test and only teach them what's on that test. There's other things to learn and other ways to learn to teach them. Instead of, this is what you've got to do, come on, we got to get this right. And then the kids are stressed out and the teachers are all stressed out.
Do you have art and music at the elementary buildings? You are the art teacher at the elementary?
They alternate through the year. So like
I think it depends on which.
Depends on what grade you're in.
Yeah.
What you get. I have a first grader and a preschooler, and they haven't done. Preschooler.
No music and no art?
Well, no, at 20
Not
minutes,
as of
my
yet.
third grader.
And you have a first grader?
And a preschooler. There's art. I was the art teacher last year, but
Okay.
preschooler doesn't get it.
So do they float you around a little bit to different buildings to do art?
All the itinerant teachers are, most of them are at 2 pages.
Okay, when did that start?
They brought art and music back 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
So, a lot of them don't have classrooms teaching, they're floating throughout the buildings all set. But they have brought it back. The scheduling isn't great, it's not perfect, but it's there.
Any other questions? I know I've got lists of your concerns in writing that I was planning on sharing today with my fellow commissioners.
Yeah, Diane, and just to give her credit, you know, when she came on board, she shared with us and she asked for four pages of just data pieces.
Yes, a 3-page document I created. And it's basic, foundational baseline data about a district. About staffing, about allocation of resources, about programs for students, about curriculum. And I'm still waiting to get my hands on some details about how this district is operating. So.
And one of the comments that I was going to make even today, you know, House Bill 70, as a person that teaches government, it goes against the fiber of democracy. Okay, we've all heard about, you know, no taxation without representation. We have taxation, and there's no representation. And I heard people complain about the Board of Education. There's a couple members here. Well, if you don't like them, that's fine. Then vote someone else in. If you do like them, you've elected them to be the people that represent this community. Okay, and to have a situation, this is nothing against Mr. Hardy, it's against the bill itself, but the bottom line is a person is in charge of us. Everybody in here that was not elected, okay, you have a group that's been elected to represent the community that has basically been pushed aside as far as their ability to govern this district, okay? The only real responsibilities you guys can effectively authorize is to put a levy on. Exactly.
Levy and abatement,
That's it. So basically they've taken the guts out of the representative power structure of this community and lumped it with somebody else. The same thing is happening in Youngstown. And to me, as a person that looks at government, I mean, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, those guys are flipping in their graves right now in regards to the lack of representation that they fought for 250 years ago that for some reason we've been able to just kind of jettison like it doesn't mean anything. And that to me, whether you like this, you want the schools to change out, there's a lot of areas that we can all sit and debate. That to me is a non-negotiable, non-debatable issue that must change, and I'm hoping the political leadership in Columbus, the new governor coming in, the new politicians coming in are going to look at this and say, this is a system that is flawed from the very beginning. How it was passed, you know, wasn't read properly, wasn't debated properly, it was thrown through and slid through in a very shady fashion. I want to see that evaluated and say, hey, we need to realize that this isn't the way we need to go, because it's not just us, it's not just Youngstown, there's about 10 other districts that are on the runway. They're going to be in the same boat we are, having the same issues we are, and it's not good for the communities. I just strongly, no matter how you feel about any of this, to me, that's kind of the essence, the genesis of all of this.
And I can encourage all of you, call your state reps, call your senator, write Governor DeWine letters, and let him know how you feel and what your experiences have been with this whole process. Please, be a strong voice. Reach out and write letters, make phone calls.
They need to hear your voice. They really do. And you know, whether it's the Gail Manning, Nathan Mann, I mean, let these people know. And there are people that are beginning to look at this and say, yeah, but they need to change. But they need to realize that their feelings are your feelings.
So with House Bill 70, has any other school district had a positive outcome after experiencing it?
No.
So then how can they put it on Youngstown, put it on us, and then have 10 more?
Well, East Cleveland's next,
Yeah,
and I have friends in East Cleveland, and they are actually fighting it tooth and nail. They have legal representation, and they are fighting it. And East Cleveland, you know, they made progress. They've done some great things in that district before this, but apparently it wasn't enough. But you know,
well, even in Lorain, and I don't know. My understanding was the state and the board were working together to have an amicable resolution moving forward, and then it was kind of changed. Am I right in saying that?
Every time we made a success, they moved the goalpost.
Exactly. You know, we improve on this score, let's move it. Or even as the process began to take root, I thought there was a lot of understanding. We're going to try to work with you guys instead of fight you. And then it kind of began to change that piece. So it was never an upfront process as far as what I've been able to get. I wasn't involved in those meetings, but it just seemed like, as you said, the goalposts kept moving. Well, we're making this inroad. Well, then we're going to move it over here. That's just not a way. And we talk about keeping politics out of this, and it's all about the kids. Well, we have to realize that we didn't put ourselves in the whole political arena. That's been done by a lot of other people. All of us agree our kids are very important to us. My kids, your kids, I mean, you know, the students that I have every day that come through my room, they're very important to me. But when people say it should only be about the kids and not politics, well, we have no control over the fact that politics is here. So we have to realize that we're going to have to deal with the political piece. We're going to have to deal with the kids piece. We're going to have to deal with all of this works together. So to pretend one is exclusive from another is just, you're living in a different fantasy world, in my opinion.
And just so you know, too, I've already made calls to the Mannings. I've reached out to Nathan Manning, and we are getting a meeting together. We're trying to get his mom, Senator Gail Manning, in that meeting. And they know our next step is we want to go down and we want to meet with DeWine's office, and we want to meet with Paolo DiMaria, our state superintendent. So that's in the works right now. We're going to push for a meeting. And in the meantime, we're going to be collecting lots of data, collecting concerns, and sharing that with our lawmakers.
There's a lot of potential for good in Lorain. I think Diane and I are on the same page. We have a vision of where this district could be, and we want to move the goalposts in our way to make sure that this district becomes what an urban district can be.
We have a lot of new administrators, and one of our PDs, I said, you know, we're not that far gone. I'm a product of Lorain schools. My parents were teachers in Lorain schools. We've only experienced this distress in my lifetime. It's not like we're generations and generations of this. We're not that far gone.
And don't let people always badmouth us to the point where I have to have this conversation with people where it's almost like the kids go to school and they're not getting taught. There's teaching going on. I mean, I've heard you speak in meetings where there's a lot of positive things that we are doing, the teachers are doing, the parents are doing, the community's doing, and unfortunately those get overshadowed by standardized testing. And if you're not meeting that test rubric, then there's nothing going on and you're a failure of a school system. And that's tough on teachers to go to school hearing that. It's tough on the kids that go to school and say, you know, they work somewhere. And, well, where do you go to school? Lorain High. It's almost like, oh, well, yeah. It's like, you know, you go to a school that they don't teach you. Or I have, you know, my daughter, when she was in school, taking CCP classes. Well, I bet those classes are easy because at Lorain High, she's like, no, they're harder than your classes are. So there's that perception piece that we have to try to continue to work at changing, because there's a lot of good that we do that we've been doing for a lot of years. So
we have kids that come from other districts that when they get here they're actually behind where our kids are.
And my thing is that not all the kids are behind. You have a lot of kids that are doing good things. You don't hear about the kid that had the perfect on the ACT. They don't make a big deal about that. They just want to tell you that the kids they can't get anything higher than 18 on the ACT. I mean, they don't want to tell you the good things that are happening and the kids that are. I mean, my daughter has begged me not to come home from grade because in 7th grade loves it. So I mean, they don't put any of that out.
My children loved it too.
Yeah.
They loved it.
To use one anonymous child, what he did at the town hall, report card of all A's and then comparing them to her ACT scores to show the difference of she wasn't college ready just seems like a disservice to me to use one person's report card to define an entire graduating class of many, classes.
Many other students.
Yeah, it just seems ridiculous actually to me.
And I'm going to go back to a standardized test score. I don't think we should put so much emphasis on it. If you get a 30 on your ACT, excellent. The world is wide open to you as far as where you want to go to school. But it doesn't mean you can't go to college if you get a 20, 22, 23. Maybe you'll continue to develop your skills when you get to college.
Or maybe you're not a good test taker.
Maybe you're not a good test taker. But it doesn't mean if you don't have the grit. Like I love the word grit.
Yeah.
If you've got the grit and you've got a good work ethic, you can go into anything and do anything in your lifetime. A test score, I think, will put too much emphasis on it, and it actually brings our students' confidence down because there's such an emphasis on it.
Yeah, but my daughter Taylor was told she has grit from being from Lorain. She was really proud. She told me last week. This was just recently. We had that conversation. She was like, "Dad, this life coach who does professional athletes, who does all these things in the Columbus area," and he said, "Honey, you have grit. I can see it. And talking to your bosses, and that grit comes from being a product of Lorain in Lorain City Schools." And she was like, "I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be from Lorain."
I have a question. I don't think this is do you know what the purpose of the meeting today was to extend Mr. Martin's contract, bonus, evaluated?
We've got a very vague agenda, and only one email that came out, there was something mentioned about
there was something in the newspaper actually that mentioned it because Saturday night.
Right, because I didn't even know about it.
I didn't either. I got a message from somebody.
It was in the Chronicle.
It was in the Chronicle.
On Saturdays night's article came out.
Maybe I don't know.
No, I'm sorry. It was the Morning Journal. I apologize. That there was something about a contract extension, I believe, mentioned.
Yeah, that I never saw anything.
So I don't know exactly what the plan was for tonight because again, since I've been on board for 11 days, I have not had a chance to meet with the commissioners. The only person I only saw you when I was visiting the school the other day. This is the first time Steve and I have actually seen each other. We talk on the phone a lot. And I've reached out to all the other commissioners. It was really important for me to bring everybody together in February or as early as we could, so I could get to know them and we could work as a collaborative team together. But I felt like there was a lot of pushback from that, and I don't know why. I came in ready to go and ready to work and do what's best for kids, and I got pushback, and I don't know why.
I've always said Diane, and I'm going to say Diane is kind of like the most organized, precise pit bull that I've ever met. And she was my principal at Lorain High School, and one of the things I always liked about her as an administrator, you knew where you stood. You knew what the expectations were, and as long as you did your job, she had your back times 100. And that's what teachers really want.
I love teachers.
Right.
I was a teacher for 14 years. I love teachers.
Right. Teachers need to be supported and to be appreciated because it's not an easy job to do. But they're not complaining about the difficulty of the job. They're complaining about some of the things. And administrators, when I had Diane, she always had our back, and I always appreciated that. But she could be like a pit bull if she saw something that wasn't right and needed to be fixed.
Because I am all about doing what's right for kids. That's why I went to education. I started my experiences at Toledo. I worked for Boys and Girls Club. I went to Toledo Public Schools. I worked in the Toledo schools for 5 years. And I was born and raised in Lorain County. I'm literally 5 minutes from the Lorain line. And when I moved back home, I knew exactly where I wanted to teach, and it was Lorain. I didn't apply anywhere else. I went straight to Lorain and put my application in, and that's where, and as soon as I moved here, my little Gavin and Gretchen were preschoolers in Lorain schools. And then things started going awry a bit, and I'm going to be honest. I think one of the difficulties we've had over the years is we've had unstable and inconsistent central office leadership. The superintendent's seat has been a revolving door. And if you look at what Elyria does compared to what Lorain does, These are the reasons we are where we are today versus why Elyria is not there. Because Elyria is our sister district. They are same dynamics as us, but there's some values that hold true in Elyria. And I know that because my sister's the student services director. She works right with Dr. Jana. She works in that district, and they value leadership longevity. They value growing leaders within their own communities and within their own schools. And they value cutting edge curriculum. So they want to make sure that they are on top of what's going on in the classrooms. And I do believe, and I've experienced it as a teacher and as a principal, when you have a new leader coming in every 3 years, as soon as you kind of catch up with the vision that's going on, then it changes again. And we're back to square one. And I will tell you, Lorain has the potential to be a premier urban district. But we need some stability and some consistency in leadership. And we can turn around. And the other thing that Lorain is missing, and because it's been part of my career, is offering social services and mental health programs to children. And offering state-of-the-art. I'm not talking just a new beginnings where you put kids in an old church and you try to put them there. I don't believe in that. I believe in you have valuable programs that make a difference in lives. Because if we don't treat mental health and social emotional first, kids can't learn. If you're scared, if you have anxiety, if there's alcohol or drug abuse in the homes, kids go home, they live in those environments. And I know, because my kids had lots and lots of friends. I know families. And there are family struggles out there that no one can even imagine. And we got to have services where we're helping parents, we're helping students get the social, emotional supports in an authentic environment that is real. We've got to get psychologists, doctors involved, parents involved in a non-threatening way, to where say, come to us, we're here to help. And treat and there should be a K-12 curriculum that focuses on health and character and employability, to learn how to be good skills to go into the workforce, because college isn't for everybody.
Right.
It's not. We have to have outstanding career tech programs so kids can go and get their industry credential and go into the workforce. And we've got lots of, opportunity around here with skills trade programs where kids can learn how to be welders or do precision machining or do HVAC. The jobs are out of the charts as far as the availability there are in our community. And we just have to do a better job of that. And we need to try to develop a long-term program with sustainable leadership that we can make it happen. Because I think we can be there.
So on the 28th, both of you are going to be there?
Yes. We will be there on Monday, January 28th, 5 o'clock. We're going to run the board meeting. They're going to welcome us as a public forum in the auditorium, according to Yvonne. And parents, I welcome you to bring your concerns, have your voices be heard, and it's all about us working together. And I want to work with our fellow commissioners. I want to work with Mr. Hardy and the administration. We've got to work together.
Can we sometimes have a meeting like on a Saturday so the parents can come?
Sure, absolutely.
That would be better, because a lot of parents, and I'll speak for you because I've been here my whole sharp, and that's been a problem because most of us work till 6:30. Right. So they have a meeting at 5 o'clock. How can you leave your job?
I understand.
Without getting recommended for it?
I understand. Yeah, we could definitely have a Saturday meeting.
Just like today, they should have said something sooner. Then all these parents coming up here now, nobody's here because it was an hour or so before until Barbie posted something, and I'm like, well, where is it?
Thanks to
Nobody's
Barbie
saying
for
nothing.
kind
Where
of
is it?
stepping up and
Spearheading
a lot of. We appreciate what you do as well.
And thanks to It Takes a Village. I'm so proud of this parent group, and I hope that you continue to grow, because that's what Lorain needs. I hope that you continue to grow and build a strong parental support group.
Because sometimes I think what happens is the powers that be think they can do what they want because no one's going to stop them from doing what they want. And unfortunately, when you look at these state takeovers, a lot of the urban districts, they're looking at targeting those, and they think, well, they're not going to fight it. Well, obviously, we're seeing that's not necessarily the case here in Lorain, because you guys are showing the grit that people like my daughter and everybody else's kids that go through Lorain City schools. So,
you know, and the other thing is too, I graduated 7 classes out of Lorain High School. So those adults now are anywhere between the ages of 22 and maybe 30 years old, 32, and there are parents now. And I would encourage, it takes a village to reach out to our younger parents with upcoming preschoolers and take them by the hand, invite them to be along and be involved with the educational process of their children. I think that means a lot, and parents would welcome that.
And we have a lot to be proud of. We have brand new buildings. The high school is state of the art. I mean, it's a great place to go to school, and there's a lot of amazing things. I've walked through other schools, and I'm like, wow, this school isn't even close to being as nice as what I work in every day. And I appreciate that, and I think our kids appreciate that as well. So we can take those and make everyone realize those positives. Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any points that you wanted to like share with us that could either maybe spark some?
Well, I had some talking points. I don't know if I want to go into those in this form. I don't know. Think
I kind of already said what I was going to say publicly.
I was going to welcome Diane. I was just, in case, a lot of what I was going to say was going to be based on what some other things were going to say in regards. The one thing that I was going to say, and I came across this quote from Dr. King, says it is Martin Luther King Day. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. And as I think of my role in all of this, and there's a lot of apprehension on my part as far as, okay, everything, as a teacher working in the district and being on this commission, I feel like I've been dropped in the middle of a tornado because I go into the lion's den every day and I deal with all these things. But to me, I look at it as a personal thing. This challenge and controversy that I deal with, it's going to make me a better person, because at the end of the day, when this is all said, I want to be able to say I helped to make a difference for the people of Lorain, for the kids of Lorain, for the teachers, everybody, because I care. And it's something that's been a part of my life forever. So
you're one of the few.
Well, thank you.
You're one of the few, and I'll say it because I'm out here.
Yeah.
I work for the Boys and Girls Club. I tutor at Lockmore. And when you're on a turf where you're in between 2 gangs, and you have to think about the kids.
Yeah.
I don't think about me. I put myself in front of my kids first, because we never know what's going to happen. But as you said, it takes a community. It's not just about the teachers. I see what the teachers do. I visit all the schools. I have a daughter that's at Lorain High that graduates this year. And everybody want to point the fingers at the teachers. The teachers. It's not the teachers. It starts with us parents, being parents. And then getting your kids to school and having the respect for the teachers. I see it every day when I come to Lorain High. I'm like, if you were my kid, you wouldn't have a butt to sit on. Talking to this lady like this, and she's trying to help you. So it doesn't start with the teachers, because everybody want to point at the teachers. It starts with us as parents. Then you take care of your kids, because when I grew up, we had a community. Yeah. You got in trouble down the street, better beat that phone call home. So it's not all about the teachers, because I'm in the schools. I see these kids crying every day. What's the matter? I can't get this. Somebody's picking on me. Nobody's listening. And then you have kids saying, oh, I don't want to live anymore. So what do you do then? You make a stand, and that's what I've been doing, is making a stance for the kids. I hear you. I'm going to your principal. I'm going to talk to you. Let's see what we can do. Because I don't want to see another kid gone. I've seen too many kids gone because senseless stuff. And these teachers got enough to deal with all the kids in the classroom. Then if a kid don't tell you, hey, I'm being bullied, how is a teacher going to help you if they can't get to you and talk to you and find out what's going on while you got your head on the desk?
Getting everybody on the same team is so key. It's a team effort from your end, our end, to the administrative end, to the, Diane mentioned the wraparound. I mean, there's so many layers that have to be addressed and to be working together. It's like a finely tuned machine. And
we can talk about parent reach out and having parent meetings, but what does that do?
What does it take to get
We need proven result-driven tactics. We need to bring everybody together, all these organizations in the community, and gather together and figure out a plan so we're all on the same page. So when we're talking to kids, and parents and community organizations are talking to kids, we're all saying the same message. Parents, get your kids to school every day. There's no reason why they should be absent unless they're sick, of course, but they should be in school every single day. And getting back to what you said about teachers, I believe kids come first. But in order to put kids first, you can't put teachers last. You can't put teachers last.
absolutely.
You got to support your educators. They work hard, they go to school, they're professionals. And they deserve to be treated with the respect that they deserve.
Along those lines, I'm sure a lot has been made about attendance for students, staff, and everybody else. So I know at the last meeting, Jay stood up and said, hey, your numbers are wrong, so he's misrepresenting the percentage of how many days teachers are missing. But we had one of our chief chats at our building where some of his people came in.
What building are you in?
I'm at Washington.
Okay.
And and somebody brought up about teacher attendance, about the fact that we can't get substitutes to come into our buildings. And their response was, well, if you guys are calling off too much, whatever it is, the building is in. Somebody made a statement about the fact that right now our stress level and the morale in this district of the teachers. I mean, I've been teaching here. This is my 25th year being in this district, and I've never seen the morale as bad as it is right now.
That's what I've been hearing. That's what I've been hearing consistently across the board.
And you also realize our attendance is pretty much on par with neighboring districts.
Right.
Our attendance, this narrative that teachers call off all the time, is a false narrative.
Right.
It's very much bothersome to me when a false narrative is continuing to be run with, and that narrative has been addressed publicly and privately, but it still gets out there because what is the motive behind the narrative?
Right.
And that's the thing that bothers me as a teacher, and thinking about my fellow colleagues who, we have children, we have issues, and people need sometimes to take those days, but it's not, if it was something that we were way up here and let's say Elyria or Amherst was way over here, that would be something maybe to look at. But when we're on par with neighboring districts, and even the ODE report card, if you look at teacher attendance in Lorain, it's not alarming, I don't think. So that to me is very bothersome.
It was brought up that with the stress and everything else, and with the overall morale. It was one of the teachers in the meeting that was in there said, you have teachers that are, for lack of a better term, being targeted, and it just makes them want to come to work less when they feel like they're being micromanaged for every little step they make, and they're not even being allowed to do their job.
I've always
There's no autonomy to their teaching.
When I go to work every day, and my boss appreciates me. We all go to work every day, no matter what we do. We feel good when people appreciate us as humans and as people. And I can't imagine if that's the consistent message I've been getting is people are just not happy going to work anymore.
A lot of it is going to be a lot of the people that have been put in their place that they're in are not from our area. They're all from outside, and they cannot relate to the area. They cannot relate to I've been teaching in Lorain for 25 years. I went through Lorain City Schools. My parents still live right down the street from here, which is probably going from here. And to me, it's
homegrown people coming through. It's like having a major league franchise, and you bring your minor leaguers up to be the major leaguers someday. If you're always looking to bring outsiders in, they aren't from Lorain. Not that you can't have someone from the outside.
But when you're vested, and this is where you grew up, you have genuine care and interest for what happens.
Because you talked about the leadership and the superintendents and all the changes that it made. And it seems that Lorain has become like the stepping stone for
It's
all the
been
people
going
that are at the
on.
top.
It's been
I'm gonna
going
go Lorain for a
on
couple
for
years to move on to my
19
next job.
years. The revolving door has been going on for 19 years.
I can verify that.
Yes. And that's been the downward spiral of our district.
And they have become like solutions of argument.
And then they're losing, we're losing the David Halls, we're losing the spirituals who are going to other districts.
The Mike Scotts,
Yes.
who have gone on and
Yes.
bright young administrative minds that know how to relate with their staff and their students in a way that is productive.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
I have 3 kids. I have a high schooler. I have one 40-year-old. So I also run the museum for them. I have a kid that came from that kid to some kid. So there's nothing there. I also run the museum. So now the district.
And what school is that? Sorry. Helen Rice.
Let me tell you, we got the luck of the draw because we do have some great administrators.
Right.
That do a lot. It took me 6 months to get them to abide by my daughter's grade
Isn't
rule.
Lori Desi there?
But I'll tell you, what I did was, I bothered them every day. And then I threatened them to go about their head. And then I threatened them to go about theirs. That's what I did. And she's finally getting it. She's going to get in the title, but that's not, there is no right. There's that's consistent. So just keep doing that. So now we're asking what funds did these meals bring? And what kind of things are they doing? Why do they
It's your private, your own private nonprofit.
Right. And that's what we have it all written out. We can show it. But legally, I don't have to.
Right.
But why, and the principal's not asking, the administrators, like, who's asking? Our secretary got an email from the fundraiser central office asking what our fundraisers are and what we're making. So, among all the other stuff, it makes, like, we were at a point where we were just kind of involved in ECO and quit what we do too much. We give our kids too much. Right. We give our teachers too much. Okay. Sometimes the only thing that they get is because of it. So we didn't. So I'm concerned not only for my kids, but for all of these other kids. What do they want? And they're also drawing up like treats in the school. We're no longer allowed to buy them pizza parties or anything like that. And I call the senator's office.
I don't know where they.
Yeah, that's been a newer thing.
No snacks, no candy.
Cawthon. It was a pleasure meeting you. See you on Monday.
I called him, and he said that's not wrong.
So it's a district policy that.
But it's not a right. There's not one thing in writing, in policy, in the law. I mean,
I struggled with that when I was working in Lorain schools. I don't understand why they say that that's the way it
and
is.
it's only this year, and it wasn't told to any administrators. It was when our secretaries went to a meeting and said, "Don't allow this."
I know there's certain nutritional regulations they have to abide by, but even like at other games, they have snack bars, they have concessions. So they're saying that you can't do that here now?
Yeah, they're trying to ban, like, okay, if they used to, your kid has a birthday, you take them to cupcakes during the
Okay.
nothing like that. We're not allowed.
There might be some regulations with that.
But I call.
Okay.
There isn't.
Okay.
And I call both senators, because there's 2 senators that represent our, and I call them. And
That might be per
no
teacher.
district policy, there is
Because Miss
nothing in
Cisco
writing.
is my baby's teacher. And I bring stuff all the time. The lady who was just saying right
Uh-oh,
here.
you're gonna give her fingers.
It has to be store bought with the label on it.
Right, and
that
then there's
shows
the nut
ingredients.
allergy problem. A
And
lot
the
more kids
lactose.
are getting allergic to nuts.
Right.
Well, even at Toni Morrison, there's no
There's
snacks
nothing.
whatsoever.
Yes, that's always been a rule.
Right,
You
but
cannot
why isn't
store
it
bought.
Yeah.
But no, they're not allowing anything in the building. Nothing. Like as a PTO, if they ask for juice, we buy them juice and we give it to the classroom. They don't even want us to do that.
That's a good question though for the administration. I don't know what, I mean, it sounds like there's some inconsistency about it.
What it's a matter of which administrators are following it, and which ones are not. Like we were told, no Halloween candy allowed to be brought in. They had like no little treat party or anything for the kids. Nothing for birthdays, unless you want to do like a concert or something. But no snacks whatsoever. They tried to say it had to do with where we get our lunches.
Earmark.
Yeah, they're saying it's earmarked, saying that we can't take away from them.
Well, we do have a contract. Lorain City Schools does have a contract with earmark.
Consistent with vendor agreements.
You can have a party at your school. You just have to go through earmark to get those products. Earmark will provide you with ice cream. They will provide you with all that stuff.
You have to buy it.
Because if you buy it, it's taken away from the contract that Lorain City Schools is paying for earmark. It's pointless. It's a waste of money.
You are allowed, I requested the public information. If you can prove that theirs costs way more than wherever else you want to go, then there's some rules that you're able to go through that. But the school district actually came out with something that said about the students. We asked about it in high school. They provided the 9th and 10th graders with incentives of an ice cream party, and we were for attendance or something. And we asked, because a lot of kids were saying, well, what about us? We're 11th and 12th graders. And then that's where all of this came from for me. But I did not see anything in all the information that says why they are not allowed to do.
You know, I'm going to go back to what Kyrie said. Aren't contracts negotiable? So if we sat down with the earmark and said, you know what, we want to give our parents some flexibility to do certain, as long as we're in the realm of nutrition regulations, I think contracts should be negotiable. We sit down and we say, you know what, earmark, we understand that, but you got to understand too, we're a school. And we want to embrace our community. And if our parents want to bring things in and do things on their own, then we should not have to do some non-compete laws. That's what it's called.
Yeah, the last thing we want to do is push parents away that are trying to help.
No,
and that's the last
and
thing.
put more red tape in front of you.
Because if they do, then you're going to be less likely to involve yourself in other aspects of the job.
You know, for 2 weeks everybody read. So your classroom, you get something.
Now, I just think that could be negotiated with earmark because they need to be flexible. They should be flexible working with schools.
I just have a few issues. And me personally, I'm very outspoken. I'm trying not to be so aggressive. But the first thing is, I just feel like this district has cliques. From Hardy's team to this team, to the distress team, to the parents team, everybody is fighting against everybody. And if I look at all these different cliques here, I believe we don't have the same objective, which is the students.
Right.
But when we get to arguing against one another and putting everything on the news and bashing this person and bashing that person, you can't tell me that you have the best interest for our scholars or our students.
I agree.
If you continue to bash one another.
That's right.
And I may not agree with everything Hardy do, I may not agree with everything they do.
That's right.
But as a leader, and you want to be a leader, as a parent, sometimes you got to be humble. Just be humble and walk the line. You want our district to get back to where it was way back in the day, then we got to come together as a team. Stop all of these cliques. Stop all this fighting. Quit blaming everything on each other. You have to look in the mirror. That's what Michael Jackson said. When you wake up in the morning, you look at yourself and say, what am I doing for my child? Are you doing everything you can for your child?
Yes.
And sometimes,
yes, I am.
and sometimes parents are not. They're not. Some of these kids go home and they come back and say, Mr. Brooks, I don't get to see my mom. I don't get to see my dad. That's why I didn't do my homework. I am the babysitter. I am this. That's not saying that the parent is not at work, because some of them is at work, but some of them are not. So there's bigger pictures here. And I'm not on nobody's side. I respect Hardy as a man. I respected everybody's decisions. But come on with this blame stuff.
We have to get along.
Every time I turn on the news, somebody on there talking about Hardy, somebody on there talking about the school board. My God, ain't you all on the same team here?
We have to get along.
Right.
We have to get along, and we have to make decisions based on the truth and moving forward. What do we need to do to move forward together?
And what is the solution? Because I hear everybody argue, but I never yet to hear a solution. So all of it.
And I'm trying with that. With my role here, I'm trying to get information.
I think there's been some nice ideas presented, and what you said about the community and the parent involvement, and you just hammered it home further, 100% true.
100% true.
But you also said something that's accurate too. You said you called out 19 years at one point. I don't know where that came from.
19 years.
That we've been kind of going. So the point is,
Yes.
it's not an easy fix. It's not one person. It's not one teacher. It's not one school. This is a multifaceted, complex issue that's really a representation or a byproduct of the city as a whole. And we need to work together as a city as a whole to come together. So I agree
And it's
100%
just not
with Mr.
school
Crowe.
officials
But
making
we need
those
to
decisions.
stand down on the finger pointing.
It's you, and it's all the parents coming together to make those decisions collectively. School officials should not be the only ones making the decisions.
And unfortunately, the politicians that got their hands in it, they've created a dynamic that has, you know, like I said earlier, you can't take away the politics piece because they're entrenched in it. So we have to figure out how do we maneuver through the politics piece from Columbus to make it better for us. And I'm hoping things might be happening down there that will be better for all of us, for the parents, for the kids, for the teachers, for the whole community. But yeah, you're right.
But in the meantime, we have to do the best that we can with what we have. And that would include Mr. Hardy, that would include a socioeconomically depressed city. Like a fix would be everybody probably making 60 grand a year and not struggle. Like that would probably bump up our numbers dramatically. But we can't do that. And we can't necessarily have Mr. Hardy or even just this entire academic takeover end tomorrow. So in the interim, we have to do everything that we can.
Then we have to meet.
I agree.
We have to have dialogue.
And so everybody here pat on the back, and we just
We have to
keep
meet.
going with that.
We have to have dialogue. We have to address brutal facts.
Sure.
There are things that would need to be talked about. And we can't be afraid to talk about them.
Sure, but how we talk about it is also going to be
Absolutely. We've got to be civilized.
The way
We've got to be
you present the
professional.
message right here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Barbie wants to say something.
We have done exactly that. We've asked meetings, Mr. Hardy for meetings, Mr. Richardson, he's canceled with our parents. We've spoken at every meeting, we have sent emails, we've asked questions, we talked to teachers, we talked to parents, administrators, board members, commission members. We care about our kids, about all of our kids, all of the community. This isn't about Mr. Hardy or anyone else. That sounds nice, right? But he's the one making all of these decisions.
He wants transparency. That's what we want.
So I don't know. I'm definitely not defending.
We're just letting you know.
I'm only here because of you. Like I love what you're doing and what you've done.
Well, we're in the trenches, and this is how we know the information.
But to an extent, he's in the trenches too, right?
No, he's not. He has House Bill 70 and he has options. He doesn't have to threaten that he's going to close our schools,
I'm not saying
that he's going to turn them into
right.
charter schools. Like, Mr. Hardy is not a victim in this. He's making the decisions and the choices. Where is he at today? Because the parents are here. We want to talk to him. Where is he at?
I see it as a two-way street. My issue is this, Barbie.
Why isn't he here, Mr. Brooks?
You have to call him and ask him.
The meeting got canceled.
But
this he doesn't answer our calls. We were there at the school. We didn't see him.
Absolutely.
We saw the president of the school board there. We saw Miss Yvonne, the Board of Education member there. We did not see Mr. Hardy.
No, listen, I'm not defending. I'm really not. I have no skin in that game of defending him. I'm just, everything is a two-way street. And I'm not defending anything he's done in part or in whole. All I can see is what's going on now. And I see this two-way street of like when you push, when you point fingers, that tends to just get reflected back at you. Whether you're right or wrong is almost irrelevant. Because again, I agree with so much of what you're saying. Some of the facts are there that yeah, he's not here. Nobody's arguing that he's here. But we need to work to change that in the way I think we approach it. And again, I'm not saying you personally or anybody individually. I do feel like I'm saying if I was in his shoes and I've heard some of the things I've heard, I don't know that I would be really quick to join in on the meetings myself. Doesn't mean that maybe he didn't.
I'm kind of a newcomer here, so I think what I'm hearing is, I think they've made attempts, and they feel like they're their attempts are not being addressed.
Sure.
They're not being
Before we wanted to know,
you don't switch.
And they're still going.
We call our own meetings. That's what it takes to
And this is awesome.
We
That's what
sit
I'm
down
saying.
there
You're
and we
doing
say,
great.
oh, the meeting is canceled, but if you would like to voice your concerns or ask questions, come here and we'll help.
I did expect that they'd reschedule. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that was maybe.
But
But what you've done, Mark, is awesome.
That's
Like,
what
this
it's
is great.
disgusting.
This is
Then we're
terrific. What
supposed to
you've
be
done.
transparent, and this is what they do.
There's tons of room for, again, on so many levels, you and I agree, just to be clear.
Are you a parent in the district or?
I am a parent, yeah.
Okay.
My kids aren't in the school,
Okay.
but yeah. So yeah, that's what I agree with you, like, in large. This isn't even an argument. I'm just trying to think of it from his standpoint, not that I know him in the least, like literally I'm going to try to reach out to him and maybe me and him are talking about that's what I'm hearing, so we'll see. Maybe a new face will help. But I'm just afraid that some of the things that have been done already have just kind of relegated it to a negative face. And I'm just trying to think, like, is there any way to reset it? I know it sounds stupid and idealistic.
He would have to take accountability, and he will not. He refuses.
So
He won't even,
so
hold
much
on,
accountability.
please don't interrupt me. I asked him a direct question at the last town hall meeting, and I'll just use this one thing as an example because I could go on and on and on. I asked him, would you please just acknowledge that the information that you put out describing the teachers' attendance rates and that 18% of it was just straight them not coming to work and did not include FMLA, did not include unpaid and paid leave, and did not include mandatory training days to places you send them. Could you please just acknowledge that? And he never did. He would not say yes, he would not say no. He just kept with his act and he kept on with his show. That is a huge example of the way he has treated not only me, but everybody in the community who asks him any hard questions. He does not give straight answers. He talks in circles. And that is just a glaring example, that one question that he refused to answer. And I don't know if you watched the... Okay, did he or did he not answer that question? He did not. Now you tell me why. Because he refuses to take accountability. He refuses to acknowledge when he's wrong. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, you're in a high position. You're going to make mistakes. That's expected. I don't think you're supposed to be perfect. But say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I screwed up. Let's make this better. Instead of saying, oh, wait, no, it's not my fault. It's this person. Like, come on. I cannot take you seriously, and everything you say to me is going, like, I can't. Your credibility is shot, and you won't address anything, apologize for anything, take accountability for anything, be transparent about everything. Everyone has to put in a public records request to get any information from that man. Why? It's public record. Why don't you just say it?
Good questions, and they are. But as far as accountability, I still stand by. I think all of us need to focus on our. It's easy, and I'm not even saying it's wrong to point fingers. Like
I can't take accountability for the parents at large. I can take accountability for myself.
Sure, the fact that you're here is indicative of that. So what I'm saying is, I still think that that's something that's being glossed over to some extent, and I could be wrong. As I keep getting here, I might start to side with you guys 100%. But what I'm saying,
that's not even my point. Being here for you or to side with me. It's not. I want answers and I want accountability and I want awareness in our community because there's so many people who have no idea that this is even going on.
I agree, but I would argue that argument or that issue that you have with Mr. Hardy transcends him, and it's been an issue of
because
again
it's not
from
just
the
with
parent
me.
on. Well, no,
you think it's a coincidence that that amount of people feel that way? No, it's because he does everything. He conducts himself in that manner. It's not because I told them to think that. It's because they've experienced him in that manner.
I'm not disputing that at all. What I'm saying is we all, I just think, and again, this might be like just kind of hippie and idealistic, I'm just saying we only get so far by pointing fingers and rubbing people's faces in it. When again, I think we could all agree that we could all be more.
Do you ever think that he honestly doesn't know?
The people don't have a vote.
The state is telling him exactly.
The
Do
state
you think
is telling
he
exactly
researched
what to do,
the percentage?
how to do it.
He didn't know the percentage. He didn't know how to answer you, baby. So he decided instead of making him.
No, that's not the point. He was given the percentage. The point
he
is,
was given
it was proven
so
that
there was nothing beyond that.
No, but
up here, he's empty on Lorain County.
First of all, I think he was lying. I think he knew that it included all those. We'll just get set that. I'll just put that out there.
You know this stuff. Yeah, he don't know. He don't.
The point is, when he did find out, when he did know, when he knew it was fact, when there was no more arguing about it, he would.
Up here.
Well, that's not an acceptable answer to me.
He's pulling it.
I know. That's my point. That's why he does not care. It's not just me saying that.
Yeah.
It's just hard to go on the premise of being transparent when at that last meeting you have Mr. Hawks handing him a few index cards and not knowing his microphone is still on, going, the rest of the questions aren't on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's all because HB 70, the people need to vote HB 70 out first. Then, the reason why citizens are upset is because they don't get to vote him out if they don't like him. If you don't like a school board member, you can vote them out. They took the power out, that's fine, but they can still be voted out. They took the power away from the citizens.
So my question to you
is
this.
So we're going to have...
Where was all of this people
Why
at?
does that matter?
Where was all these people at before Dr. Hardy
He's
came?
not a doctor, one, and why does that matter?
Just let me talk, Victor. Where, whatever he is.
Wait, we're just separating that to be honest.
Wait, let me finish. I'll let everybody else talk. Where was this much drive when this district was going down the mountain at Oakwood Park 15 to 10 years ago? Where was this drive? Wait a minute. Where was this drive when Dr. Graham was in office and this district was going downhill? Where was this drive? But now that he's in office and he's so untransparent,
You think this is a personal vendetta?
Wait a minute, let me finish. And he's just so mean and rude that everybody thinks it's his fault. But it's kind of coincidence because he answered my phone call.
That's because you agree with him.
I don't know.
We're parents in the building. You have a child that goes through a Lorain
I work in Lorain City School.
Okay, but do you have a vested interest in a child that her future will be affected forever if I am forced to remove her from this district? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It breaks my heart to think that I absolutely have to consider that because I can't trust him.
Okay, can I hold and say stop? I think we're doing exactly what we said we didn't want to do.
And what they want us
We got to talk to each other. We got to have good dialogue.
I'm not angry.
I know.
But this is exactly what they want you to do.
I know, and we got to stay together. We got to stay together. And accept each other has different opinions. People have different opinions.
We keep saying that Hardy does not come to these meetings and stuff. But I was not at that town hall meeting, the last one, but I seen it on the news and I seen it on the TV. That was a horrible meeting. It turned into a screaming match. And he felt, wait a minute, see, every time I talk, you cut me off. And it became, probably became uncomfortable. If somebody is sitting up here and you're trying to talk, and somebody just screaming at you different stuff, do you think, you don't have to answer your questions if you don't want to.
Excuse me?
And
he doesn't have to answer my questions as a parent. He's the one. That's the problem. That right there is exactly the problem.
I just said I was not.
Okay, he put on a dog and pony show for 50 minutes, putting on a show.
Did you tell him that?
Yes.
Did you tell Hardy?
I was one of the first persons to speak up because he wasn't going to let anybody speak. Listen, I'm running for office. I ran for a U.S. congressional seat. You want to fix this? We want to fix this issue? HB 70 was designed. If you ever, anybody's walked through Lorain High School, it's one of the top high schools in the country. It's got everything that they want to get their hands on. He works for the state and the creepy little governor's minions down there that infiltrated our public schools. Now, has there always been a problem? Yes. You want my honest opinion? When we combined both schools as fast as we didn't have a game plan, that caused a lot of issues. I went to Southwood. I know what it was like going there. There was already 30-40% engagement in the classroom. And then we take Admiral King and fly it together. But we can't go back now. But where I have a problem is the people's voices have been suppressed. And the reason why there's more people engaged now, Facebook didn't exist 15 years ago. And listen, listen to me. This is why young politicians like me coming up, we don't have to depend on the newspaper to get our message out. So we can infiltrate people that have sat in there and roosted in their seats for a long period of time. So I'm glad the parents are speaking up. You're correct in some way where both sides have to give, but at the same time, Hardy's in there causing confusion, stress on the teachers, and the teachers are stressed out. Now the kids know that Hardy is in control of everything. Why should I listen to administrators?
And he's stressed too.
Why would I be stressed? I just said that.
Listen,
I just said
excuse me. He just said that.
Pull us back in.
Excuse me. I'm not here to do all of that stuff because I look at y'all.
We thank you guys for coming. We want to thank Ms. Williams, Mr. Demakia,
all this confusion.
Mr. Brooks, I'm sorry, we're done.
I'm talking to
can talk to her after the meeting. We're going to close.
When you are
We want to thank
the community,
Mr. Cawthon and Ms. Xander for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope that you guys will be at the Board of Education Public Forum on the 28th at 5 p.m.
We just want to continue to support because we all want to see you.
That was our only frustration level.
Well, this is fine. Well, being frustrated is not going to hold. It's not going to help this issue.
I know, but I think the levels are so tough right now.